Hello and welcome to Exclusive here on France 24. We are in Kigali, the capital of Rwanda, as the country is about to commemorate the 20th anniversary of the genocide. And our guest today is the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame. Mr. President, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Mr. President, 20 years ago exactly, could you imagine what was about to happen in your country?
Well, we knew the history of our country very well and all the kinds of problems the country faced. But nobody ever imagined the magnitude of the problem that happened in 1994. It was on an extreme side of things. So I think nobody was really prepared for that, psychologically or otherwise.
20 years later, would you say Rwanda is at peace with itself, or is this still something that needs to improve over the next few years?
I believe in as far as the stability and the peace required for any society to settle down and go about the main issues for their development and prosperity. The country has done as much as could humanly be achieved. I think Rwandans from all walks of life have tried their best, and I think we have put together what could be put together by human beings in such a short time.
Could it happen again?
Well, I don't think so, and nobody wishes to see that happen again, I think. And my belief is built on two factors. One is that Rwandans, I think, have had more than, or learned more than enough lessons from this tragic history of our country. And we have also not only learned that, we have also done our best to make sure that we rebuild the country in a way that those reasons that led to a genocide happening, those reasons are done away with, and institutions and belief and everything has been done to make sure that it doesn't happen again. That is how far I can go. I'm a human being. I can't always predict beforehand what will happen or what won't happen in 20 years, 30 years, 50 years from now, because human beings are as strange as we saw in this tragedy.
I want to get to a crisis that's unfolding as we speak in the Central African Republic. Some Western leaders have used references to a pre-genocide, a genocide in the making. You have troops over there. Are you seeing any parallels between what's happening in the Central African Republic and what happened 20 years ago here?
Well, maybe no situation is ever exactly like the other. But as far as the suffering of people is concerned, and as far as some of the wrong reasons being used to justify what is happening in the Central African Republic, you may find good reasons to draw some parallels between what is happening there and what is happening and what happened here in Rwanda in 1994. But again, as I said, no situations are exactly the same.
Right. I want to get to the issue of France. In the past, you've accused France of playing a role in the genocide and its aftermath. Things have improved in terms of the relationship. Very recently, and for the first time, a French court tried and sentenced Rwandan for complicity in the genocide. Pascal Sibikangwa was sentenced to 25 years in prison. Are you happy?
Well, first of all, I'm not the one accusing France or anybody. It's
You've complained in the past.
It's the history, it's the facts of history that will indict anybody on their involvement or whatever role and responsibility people may have in our country, in the tragedy of our country. So it's really not me. If I'm being asked, I'm only reading the chapters of history as there or facts thereof. So it's not that what has been said or what I say depends on me. It depends on I'm just reading history like anyone else would. So that is should be put aside. It's not my intention to be out there accusing people all the time. I also know that Rwandans, we have responsibility to ourselves, and we try to do that as much as possible and not accuse other people, but other people have responsibility. That's what we are told by facts of history. So putting that aside, the trials that are going on, or
they were long
the trial that
coming,
is going on, yes, it took so long. Reasons are not clear why it would take 20 years. A country like France that has some of these capabilities we are talking about, institutional or otherwise, unlike Rwanda or unlike Africa, why it would take 20 years to try one case that has been sitting there, very well known and talked about. And well, but again, that's an issue I don't want to spend so much time on. But whenever justice takes place, I think it's never too late. If justice is seen to be done and it is actually done, then so be it, and everyone would want to see justice, especially for such a people who got involved in the genocide, take place.
You're hoping there will be other trials in France?
I don't know. Nothing really depends on me. It depends on France and the system.
But you would like to see this happen, right?
It is very obvious.
I want to go back to the relationship between Rwanda and the West. There have been tensions in recent years because of accusations by the United Nations of Rwandan meddling in neighboring Congo, of essentially backing the M23 rebel groups. Some aid has been suspended. Do you think that this was unfair, or do you agree that maybe Rwanda was playing dangerous games with the Democratic Republic of the Congo?
Well, I think, first of all, that this situation has been grossly exaggerated. I think there's too much exaggeration about what Rwanda is involved in or is not involved in. And in many cases, it is used to cover up wrong things done by many others, especially those who blame Rwanda for many things. So whatever we have done, we have come out and explained. Whatever accusations that have come up, we have tried to put things in a context and explain. Well, sometimes it has not been helpful, because even what we explain, even if we give facts and context and everything, that is used to spin things out of control or out of the real proper understanding things should have. So we go back and forth, and we have come to understand the world we live in, that it is like that. And so but at the same time, we don't want ourselves to be distracted from doing really what is important for us, for the country, to continue to stabilize, to build for a better future.
Is it true that President Barack Obama called you and asked you to stop supporting the M23 group?
Well, that's history, and I don't think this is the right place to discuss a conversation between myself and a leader of another country, especially a big country, like United States. I don't think this is the right place to talk about conversations people have, but I think we had good conversation that were aimed at understanding and putting things in the right context, and I think the discussion took place, but it's not an issue of discussing the contents in the wrong place.
Now the M23 has been defeated militarily. There have been a number of rebel movements in this region of eastern Congo. Would you say that it's likely that a new rebellion will eventually emerge because the same issues keep coming on again and again?
I would this time suggest that some of these questions, or most of them, or if not all, really, be put to the government and leaders of Congo to answer. That is their country. The problems there, which are always attributed to other people or other factors outside of Congo, I think it is not helpful that we see the situation this way. So some of those questions, I think, should be asked to the Congolese leaders.
Right. The UN force in Congo has promised it would go after the rebel FDLR group. This is something that you've wanted for a long, long time. Is it happening?
Things are not, do not happen necessarily the way they have been discussed, or commitments have been done about them. But again, that's the world we live in. That's what we confront.
So you're saying the United Nations said after going after the M23, they said they would go after the FDLR. You're saying they're not respecting their pledge to go after the FDLR.
Well, I think as a journalist, or as anybody who makes analysis of situations like these ones, you know very well, probably know better even than me. I haven't seen much being done in the way of that promise, but patience maybe sometimes pays. We will wait and see what happens.
I want to get to a recent role you've had with South Africa. South Africa in early March expelled 3 Rwandan diplomats, accusing them of being tied to murder attempts and even a murder. You retaliated by expelling 6 South African diplomats. The South African Justice Minister said there was evidence of ties to assaults on your former army chief, Faustin Kayumba Nyamwasa, and the murder of your former intelligence chief, Patrick Karegeya. You've denied that Rwanda is behind those attacks, but in an interview, I believe you said you wished Rwanda was behind those attacks.
Yes, again, this is a situation where people concentrate on wrong things or smaller things and forget about the big things that should be talked about. 2 things here that are very important in my opinion. One, there is a relationship of more than 2 things between us and South Africa, which I think is very important. And we want it to continue as well as it has been. It has been a good relationship. That's one. So the relationship for us, we want to continue.
Even now?
That's what I mean, that's what I'm saying. Number 2, the next is there about facts. What has happened to whichever individuals in South Africa. We need facts, or to base what we say on facts and not just talk about things because somebody wants things to be heard or known the way they want, and rather than the facts. So as far as I know, much as there has been a lot of talk in the media and
by the
so
Justice
on,
Minister himself.
Wait a minute. Well, then I don't know whether Justice Minister gave you facts. He just made statements. And actually in the statement, if you follow things the way they should be followed, he was talking about continued investigations. So which means they haven't really had facts as of investigations. So whether it is you in the media or the South African Justice Minister, I don't know who is saying what, but none is talking about facts. They're just talking about speculations. I don't know. How can it be me to give you the facts of what happened in South Africa?
So you're saying Rwanda did not send people to kill?
I have said that repeatedly. But why I said what you have also mentioned that I said that seemed to be a source of confusion and controversy, and people celebrate and make such a nonsense of, was when I said I wish it was Rwanda, or wouldn't Rwanda actually be right to do it if it were the one to do it, was simply based on a fact, again, of analysis. I was telling people, and I will tell you now, that these people who are in South Africa, this time we have facts. It's not now speculation. There are facts, because we have people in the court of law here, both in the civilian courts as well as the military courts, people who have been arrested with material evidence implicating them in a connection with those individuals in South Africa who have been not only planning but carrying out acts that have killed Rwandans or endangered the lives of Rwandans. You are here in Kigali. If you want, you can go and talk to those people who have lost limbs and others who have lost their children or their relatives or members of families on the hands of the grenades that have been thrown around Kigali, in this capital, on several occasions. There is a material evidence that links these people with these activities. Now, so when I was saying, if somebody is out there killing Rwandans, how do you expect Rwandans to feel sorry that they have faced whatever they faced for one reason or another? And has nothing to do yet with the facts that need to be established.
But isn't this giving the feeling that, you might say, okay, if we're not able to get those people from South Africa, well, we don't mind if they're killed. This seems to be condoning extrajudicial killing in another country.
No. It's not extrajudicial killing. I'm just saying it depends on how you want to interpret it. And I'm really not going to satisfy everybody in what I have said, depending on where they come from in their own thinking or analysis. Maybe some of the people are linked with those people killing Rwandans here. So what they interpret about what I say is going to be different from people really who want to understand issues the way they are.
So are you considering that South Africa is harboring terrorists?
We have discussed these issues with South Africa. So I don't think it's a matter of spending the whole day justifying myself to journalists about all kinds of things, but it is important for me to make sure that between us and South Africa, we are discussing, we are talking about real issues, and they need to resolve them the way they should be resolved.
Have you talked to
and
President?
That has happened several times,
Have
yes.
you talked to President Zuma?
Several times.
Things have improved now? Have you been able to?
And the different government officials have been talking to address these issues the way they should be addressed, out of what happens in the media that is so much hyped and taken out of their context.
Back in 2009, you told Philip Gorevich from the New Yorker that if you cannot ensure a peaceful transfer of power in 2017, quote, it's a failure. do you think that you will be able to hand over to someone else in 2017, or, as many people are saying, will you change the constitution to run again?
Well, first of all, it isn't yet 2017. What is all this impatience people have about this issue of Rwanda, and is it really a good concern, and people are feeling more for Rwandans than Rwandans themselves feel about their own lives and about their own future? But there has been this concern about all kinds, every day it's talked about. So why don't we wait? So I have said what I have said. I have said many things. I have been made to say different things about this same situation, just because of the questions that keep coming and keep coming in different ways. Now, and I started saying, I think this is just, well, first of all, it is not something that entirely depends on me. That I did not write the Constitution. I don't necessarily have to tell Rwandans how to behave or what to say or what to do. But it's everything. It's me. Are you going? Are you not going? And there is no answer that satisfies anybody on the question. Well, and we just keep going on for.
But you could say, okay, as a response in a way to those who call me an authoritarian leader, I've decided that I will not change the constitution, and that the best proof that I want democracy to burgeon in this country is to hand over.
So now you want to teach me what to say. You want to tell me what answer to give. Then that's not me, it's you.
I could suggest.
I don't think, yeah, but that's your business. If you were in my place, you would give that answer. But that's you. So I'm different. So I give the answer I want to give.
Last question, going back to the genocide. 20 years later, are you still haunted by the genocide? Do you think about the genocide every day of your life?
No, I'm not haunted. I'm normally, and as a human being, disturbed by everything. You see, there's nobody who wouldn't be affected by it, one or the other. And especially those in the middle of it, or affected directly by it. It's one thing to ask me if I am, and to ask somebody else who lives somewhere else, who are also affected, because there are many even who are not Rwandans or who are not here, but of course who do not, who would not fail, I mean, who feel for Rwandans and are affected by the bad things they see or know that happened here. Even looking back or reflecting on many things, you always make sure that you find your balance so that you are not affected by what you know, what you have seen, or what affected the lives of everyone in this country. So that's the way it is.
Okay, thank you very much, President Kagame, for hosting us on those commemoration of the 20th anniversary of the genocide here in Rwanda. Thank you very much for watching this edition of Exclusive here on France 24.